I was telling you that the chemical changes and reactions. In a chemical reaction, what exactly happens is old bonds are broken and new bonds are formed. Clear? Old bonds are broken and the new bonds are formed. Like as I told you, suppose if I react, for example, if I react N2 plus O2, suppose if I react N2 plus O2 gives off what? 2NO. Am I right or not? So what has happened in this chemical reaction? We have broken the bonds of nitrogen and we have broken the bonds of oxygen. And finally what we have developed is, we have developed a new bond, that is NO plus NO. Am I right or not? So we have developed NO plus NO. Clear? So what you will find is, this is what you rightly call as a chemical reaction, in which the old bonds they are broken and new bonds they are formed. Now as I told you that in a chemical reaction, the chemical reaction is represented by a chemical equation. Every chemical reaction is represented by a chemical equation, right? Okay. In what way? In fact, a chemical equation is a shorthand form of a chemical change. What I honestly speak out here is that a chemical reaction is a shorthand form of a chemical change. In what way? Let us see. I take calcium hydroxide. And what is this calcium hydroxide? Yesterday I told. Yes?
Sir, calcium.
It is slaked lime.
Slaked lime.
Calcium hydroxide. And if I react with 2HNO3. HNO3 is basically nitric acid. There are three strong acids, HCl, sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is also known as king of chemicals. And then after we have the nitric acid. If I react, and if I react it like this, I have taken dilute nitric acid. This is needed, this is very importantly needed to be mentioned, whether the acid you are taking is dilute or whether it is concentrated. Getting me? Now, what it will form? When it will react together, it will form CaNO3, the whole twice, plus I think H2O is remaining.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Is water balanced? No. 2 here. Clear? So let us count the number of atoms on LHS side and number of atoms on RHS side. Calcium is 1. Calcium is 1. Clear?
Yes, sir.
OH is the whole twice. Here also. And here also. Hydrogen is balanced. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And here also. Oxygen is balanced.
Yes.
Along with this, hydrogen is how much? 2 plus 2, 4.
4.
2 2s are 4.
4.
And nitrogen is how much?
2.
Nitrogen is 2. The whole twice here 2.
2.
Oxygen is how much? 3 2s are
6.
6 plus 2,
8.
8. And here 3 2s are 6. And this 2, that is equal
8.
to 8. So in this way, we actually balance the number of atoms on LHS side, reactant side, and the number of atoms on the product side. My point is clear? So this is what you rightly call as a chemical equation or a chemical reaction. When I talk about the characteristics or indications of a chemical reaction, what I am talking about is the characteristics or indications of a chemical reaction. Let us talk about that also. Clear? There are various types of whenever a chemical reaction occurs, if you sprint a matchstick from a matchbox, that's a chemical reaction. And what you first observe is the light. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So in a chemical reaction, there are various kinds of indications. What there are? Various kind of indications. First thing is that in a chemical reaction, you will find the change in color. What you will find?
Change in color.
You will find that in a chemical reaction, the first thing which you will find is, in a chemical reaction, the first thing which we find is the change in color. And there are various reasons about it. Clear? That there is a change in color. For example, if I take, suppose, lead nitrate. Clear? And what is lead nitrate? 2PbNO3 the whole twice. Now first of all, what kind of reaction it is? It is a decomposition reaction. Clear? And if I take lead nitrate and if I, suppose in case if I heat it, so it will split up into PbO, 2PbO, then NO2 and then oxygen in case. Now see, let us see whether it is balanced or not. Is this balanced? No, let us give a 4 here. Lead is how much? 2. Oxygen is how much? 3 2 is 6. So 2 here, 2 here and 2 here. 6.
Sir,
Balanced?
sir, 8. Oxygen, sir, here 8.
Okay.
4 to 8.
4 2 is 8. Okay? Right?
Yes.
Clear? So in this way, as you can see, that we can, when we heat lead nitrate, so this is twice. So that is why it is giving you lead oxide plus nitrogen, NO2 and O2. As you can see, I was talking about the color. Lead nitrate before the reaction is actually white in color. But after the reaction, when it forms product, it becomes yellow. So in a chemical change or in a chemical reaction, the first indication is change in color. Getting me? Then after, we can say there are various kind of reaction in which there is evolution of gas. What I am saying? There is evolution of gas. So let us see to that also, that in various chemical reactions there is what you call as the evolution of gas. Let us see how and in what way. Suppose if I take Na2SO3, clear? If I take, this is what? Sodium sulfite. If I take Na2SO3 plus sulfuric acid, and if I react it, again sulfuric acid I have taken is dilute. What it is? Dilute. And if you react it, what it will give you? देखिए, sodium is a positive
Yes, sir.
and sulfate is a negative radical. So it will form
SO4.
Na2SO4. Along with that, what else you have?
Sir, S.
Hydrogen is remaining.
Nitrogen, sir.
Let us take one oxygen from here. It will become H2O plus SO2. Is this balanced? Yes, everything is balanced here,
Yes, sir.
right? Whenever a gas is evolved, you can see in this reaction a gas is evolved. And what is this gas? SO2, sulfur dioxide. So you have to give an arrow position at the top. Clear? So you can see whenever there is two or two different substances they react, there are chances that gas can be evolved. So that is also a very, very important part of a chemical reaction. What is being evolved is sulfur dioxide gas. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Next we come to one more property of a chemical reaction is that is called as the formation of precipitate. There is one more property of a chemical reaction, and that is what you rightly call as the formation of the precipitate. In chemistry we call it shortly as PPT. Now what is precipitate? First of all, we must know what is precipitate. In any chemical reaction, when something settles down at the bottom, suppose you react more than two different reactants. Clear? Suppose I take PbNO3, lead nitrate, NO3 the whole twice. If I take, and in that I react one more substance, and that is what you rightly call as NaCl. Clear? Suppose 2 NaCl. So if I make this reaction PbNO3 the whole twice plus 2 NaCl, if I make this reaction, what will happen? Can somebody answer me?
So light chloride.
Na will go with NO3.
Yes, sir.
So it will become NaNO3. Am I right? What it will become? NaNO3, and remaining is lead is positive radical and chloride is negative. So it will go with PbCl. Let us balance it. 2 NaNO3 and PbCl2. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
But what is happened here is this PbCl2 will settle down at the bottom of the test tube.
Sorry.
This PbCl2 will settle down at the bottom of the test tube. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
It will settle down at the bottom of the test tube. So the undissolved part of any chemical reaction, what I am saying is the undissolved part of any chemical reaction, that is commonly called as precipitate. Clear? And for precipitate, when I am saying PbCl2 is not dissolved, so you have to give for precipitate. जब gas evolve हो रहा था तो I told you that you have to give an arrow upwards.
Yes, sir.
But when it is precipitate, you have to give an arrow downwards. Clear? So this is also one of the characteristic of a chemical reaction, that a precipitate can also be formed. What? A precipitate can also be formed. In the same way, there are certain reactions, like in chemistry we have two types of reactions generally. What are they? We know very well that in chemistry evolution of heat has a very significant and eminent role. What I am saying is evolution of heat has a very significant and eminent role. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So there are two types of reactions when involvement of heat is there. And what are these two types of reactions? Either heat is absorbed or either heat is evolved. So we have the exothermic reaction.
Endothermic reaction.
So what are exothermic reaction? When the heat is evolved. Clear? That means plus del. When del means the enthalpy. The heat is evolved, energy is released. And there are certain kind of reactions which are endothermic in nature. Endothermic, that means here heat is evolved, है ना?
Yes, sir.
And here heat is absorbed. Here heat is absorbed. Getting me? So in these two type of reactions, if I take for example Haber's process, formation of ammonia. So what happens in Haber's process? N2 plus 3H2 gives off 2NH3. Am I right? And this is ammonia. This reaction is obviously exothermic, because in this reaction heat is evolved. Getting me? Right? Understood?
Yes, sir.
But if I take nitrogen and oxygen, N2 plus O2, this gives you 2NO. So here the enthalpy, that is del H, will be, or del will be negative. This proves that heat is absorbed.
Absorbed.
Clear? So